Want some water?
Hybrid.
I want to drink some.
I have this with KCDC for years, since I'm going to work. Well, let's go to Lions Den.
Let me see, they're gonna come out.
So we have a forum, I will call the January 20th, 2026 meeting, 6 o'clock to order. Invitation to address the board, no?
Did you grab it? Oh, there you go.
Okay. Proclamation, presentation of awards and community spotlight, we don't have any tonight. Item number 4, board members' comments and announcements. Sean, you want to get started?
Y'all doing a great job, that's all.
I would just say thank you to Caesar and his team for the Business Alliance. They did a great job with that.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I got to go to the Cuban Business Alliance, and we have done business outreach in the past, and it was basically going and seeing individual people talk about their needs are, but bringing them all together in this Cuban Business Alliance to me was just a great reason to get them back together again. Everybody loved being there. Everybody, the number one thing they were looking was good conduit with the city to see what's going on, when it's happening. We talk about all these projects that we're working on. This gives a conduit for them to understand from when we're doing promotions, events, holidays, for everybody to coordinate much better. I thought there was some great feedback from the folks, and I'm really looking forward to us doing more of this in the future.
Party on.
All right, item number 5, president's comments. I don't have any tonight. Guess I should have some since Caesar's not here yet, but I did not make the Business Alliance in a timely fashion because it was Monday morning and I was doing my own business. But I did show up and talk to most of the vendors before they got out there, and they were positive about it as well. So I can say from that perspective, I didn't get to see the business owners, but I did talk to most of the vendors that were there. So item number 6, city administrator report. I guess we will hold off. Can I skip down, Natasha?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because let's see, what can we go to? I'm gonna go to 7D, update on 57 Acre Park camera deployment and presentation, police department.
All right, good evening, everybody. If she can, she's going to pull up the presentation real quick, but you all have it in your packets. Just to let you know, the cameras in 57 Acre Park have been installed. They are functional. We're just working out we're fine tuning some bugs, but it's up and running. In your packet, it does show you differences of positioning where the cameras are, as well as camera views for daytime, as well as low light. So you're able to see a little bit of the detail that's included in those cameras. So I included pictures of basically from the start when they actually started doing the foundation for the poles. And that was done by our public works guys that did a good job on it. Each pole is 15 feet high. On top of that, you have a composition of the solar panels as well as the cameras attached to it. Okay, so each of these cameras, they cover, the open field inside the park, the walking paths, as well as the park perimeter. Okay, those cameras, they do monitor for motion. So as they detect motion, they will adjust and move. But after a lot of time, they will go back to their original positioning. Keep going. It's just showing you different views of each pole that was installed, and that's the overall positioning and point of view for each camera. And now you have your live views that were actually taking screenshots. So as you can see, each camera does cover a large portion of the park.
Are you all happy with the performance?
Absolutely.
What you think what you wanted it to do?
Yes, sir.
Picking up critters and everything.
I was gonna say, has it proven effective so far? Have we, kept any crimes from happening or keep all the park?
Nothing's happened up there. We haven't detected anybody in the park. Plenty of critters, running around in the middle of the night, but yeah. So far, so
This is
good.
more of a just FYI, so y'all know the status of this. When I talked to the company, when we did the pre-job walk, we talked about the future of this park as well, and that we could put a center pole that's gonna be much taller, and then we can umbrella the whole park, so they'll all be interconnected, and it all can tie back to the police department. So it can be seen by dispatch inside the police department, so we'll have eyes on that. Not 100%, but as much as possible, but all that's been thought through, and thought process is there, and mechanisms are there. We might have to move some of the hardware inside of one of the poles
Mhm.
to a different location, but it's just a matter of moving it from one box to another
As we
box.
expand.
Right. So, I mean, all that's been thought through. So, I mean, as the park expands, we'll have that ability to expand the system and not have to go buy something crazy different.
Absolutely.
Just have one more pole that's going to be, I won't say substantially higher, but it'd be higher just because.
I think that was the one we discussed, the 30-foot pole.
It's got the umbrella, the whole park in essence. But the one pole, they moved around just a little bit, so it did connect with the police department. So that gives us direct contact. So that can be our main pole to push video back here. So shouldn't be an issue. So I think it's going to be a great project. The reason we haven't moved the trailer, if anybody asks, is because we're still trying to get it connected to the police department at this point. We have a little trouble with that, but it's just a technicality at this point. Once we get that done, then they'll move that trailer off the park. So if somebody asks, I want everybody to be aware.
It looks like a great force multiplier. Good job.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
It's impressive, the scope and coverage you got.
Yes, ma'am.
Clarity.
Well, first of all, I want to say for this project, thank you guys for approving this. Also, our public works guys, because they did a lot of the work, actually putting, digging the holes and putting the poles in the ground and setting them. So a lot of work, time and effort and thought went into this project. Thank you.
And Richard, thank you. We just went over the park.
Coming in?
So we just went over the park. So thank you for your work, putting poles at the poles.
Looks great.
Much appreciated.
I probably didn't do all that work by myself.
There was no pictures of you, so Carlos got all the recognition. So he knows what a shovel is. I'm not sure you do.
Yeah, I know what it's called, man. Trust me, that's why I got someone rotating us right now.
Does anybody got any more questions or comments on 7D? If not, that was just more of an informational item. We'll go back to 6 now, city administrator report. Caesar?
I can do it as part of 7 if you want. I put most of our items under 7.
Well, we'll do 7, A, B, and C, executive director report.
As far as 7A, thank you, and again, pardon my tardiness, I was still at WCID. The proposal that's before you is for the design work for Gateway Park. As you're aware, we're working with TxDOT to get their approval of pursuing getting all the landscape done that would be everything underneath the actual flyover. So anything having to do with landscaping, trees, shrubberies, what have you. They would take care of that under the actual overpass. The only thing is they'll do the construction, but do not want to be involved as part of design. So design would be on the city to handle. So what this quote says is essentially is attacking what those are. We wanted to try to have that conversation with you to find out. I know now is not the time to possibly bite off on all of that, because it is a rather large amount. However, having said that, I wanted you guys to know that there are opportunities to do this in pieces and in parts. So the first part of the design, if you go to page 9 of 13 of the attachment, it talks about what the phase is. So phase 300, which is schematic design, that would be the first part that we need to kind of get this ball rolling. So what we want to do is we want to get TxDOT to commit in writing or something and say, yes, we will do it. But before they do it, they need to see some actual drawings. They've seen drawings on paper, but nothing actual saying, hey, we're going to put this many trees in this section and we're going to do this and we need this line and whatever the case is. So that's what the schematic design would be should we choose to do that. That's what that sum is. The rest of it would be part of design. What I would like to do, which are items that are later on the actual agenda later on today and also forthcoming in future meetings, is see how much of this we can apply with grant funding. In order to do that, though, the problem that's tied to that is it's like the chicken and the egg, right? Which one's going to come first? Are we going to do the design to put in the grant, the actual schematic design to put in the grant to try to get the rest of the design money to get the match from TxDOT to do the actual construction? That's probably the most reasonable route. However, at some point, a decision is going to have to be made on this amount that's on here. So I have it only for discussion now. The item is still closing in 60-day period. It'll go to council for a 60-day period tomorrow night. But I wanted to have this conversation with you to just plant the seed for the things that are coming later on the agenda and for you to understand the why. Total construction is probably going to be around $5.6 million for everything underneath it, is what the first preliminary number is looking like for all the landscaping and work that has to happen underneath, including drainage work and whatnot. This is the amount that would be regulated to that being part of the design. So that's the sole purpose for this for being presented tonight. It's just for information, for numbers, for you to have something to chew on. But at least you'll understand why I'm coming after grant applications to possibly address some of these issues now and in the near future.
So we've basically got to approve phase 300, the 118,000 for us to even for us to move forward on this.
Correct, and that's not an action item tonight. This is just for discussion tonight. So if you'd like to bring that back for a future agenda item, I can have Brett have further deeper discussion. That's really where we are right now. This was more introductory for you to know. A number might go down. It probably won't go up, but this is what the design would cost for everything underneath.
I know you talked to Brett, they said they were going to see if they could bring some of that down.
Possibly.
On the back end, but we're still looking about a 118 just for to green light it.
If anything comes down, it'll be some of the other parts, but not 300. More than likely, probably wouldn't be reduced. That phase for the 118,000.
Okay, we just need to look at the budget, make it an item.
If that's the will. So we can bring that up at a later date. However you want to address that, we can do that in that. However. Correct. In an ideal perspective, to answer your question, yes, if I had an ideal magic wand and money didn't matter, I would say, give me the schematic design first. I take the schematic design to get TxDOT to put something in writing that says, okay, here's what we think we'll commit to in this amount of time frame, then allow me to go hunting for the balance. In an ideal time frame, that's what would happen. But that's waving a magic wand with $0. Now there's a dollar amount tied to that. Well, I mean, there could be pay for all of it. There could be, we'll talk about this next year. There could be a lot of different things to do. To do nothing, to do it later, to table it. Let's talk about it at budget next time. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I would like to remind.
10 cents on the dollar. So from a taxpayer standpoint, this is a good deal because they're fronting 90% of the whole project.
And we're basically just doing the design work.
And I will remind you
There's no
that
other money out there like that. I mean, that I've seen.
Yeah.
I've been involved in this.
we've been very aggressive with grant. I mean, there's 5 million here or 5.6 here, 1 point something. We've been very, very fortunate with it. We don't have it in writing yet, but we have pretty firm commitments once we do certain things. So what that's doing for us is allowing to get some stuff done pretty quickly. However, there is certain steps that we'd have to take in a certain order to do so. So whatever direction we want to take, you want to tell me to bring this back at the next meeting, we can. But right now, this is what it would cost to take those next steps, which I think was the last direction that I received from this body to bring that moving forward.
And I have to say, one of the things we heard from a lot at the Business Alliance meeting was what's going on with the overpass, what's going on with the boat ramp. I mean, there's people just like, it's obviously a focal point for everyone in the city. So I think we need to make it a priority because that appearance, making this look like the destination that it is, I think it's critical. And I think it's critical for the citizens to see that now that it's done, we're making it look nice.
Right.
And you can see that every day.
And just to piggyback on that, there's the actual concept of the boat ramp itself. TxDOT, from a second pool of funding, separate from that, has said that they're going to take care of the boat ramp, but their worry of taking care of it, once the Army Corps engineer signs off on it, would be to just replace it how it was. That's not any parking striping, that's not any lighting, that's not any water, any other things would have to be done.
Right.
So those things, we would also look to pursue other grant opportunities, and that we can
That's
share.
the TPW.
Yes, sir.
So I was reading earlier, I'm not sure, I was looking at the second where it was, but it looked like it discussed the potential need for certain, obviously, certain tests. And I understand that maybe the amount we're gonna pay, the schematics is a certain amount, but do you have any idea in terms of, I guess, does anybody know if there's any concerns that they're gonna need extra stuff that's gonna go on top of that price, like labs and other issues?
I would tell you-
Under experience?
Yes, typically, yes, environmental will be done, but the beauty of it is the person doing the construction is TxDOT, and they would have had to do some environmental to do the flyover recently. I'm assuming that some of that would be covered. If not, if there's anything else that needs to be done, then that would be a additional cost that would be tied to that. But if you notice, the majority of your costs are in there back and forth as far as your coordination and your actual construction documentation. Usually that would happen afterwards as part of the permitting process, because obviously we have to get this permitted to get done as well.
Yeah, so it's talking about lab services and some other issues, so.
That's going to be in any standard agreement. Yeah, it's standard language that would need to be there.
On the TxDOT, on their project, how far north does it go? Just up to 6th? Or does it go right up to the boat ramp edge, or what exactly?
This design, my understanding would be the entire flyover.
Including the pay space?
The entire gateway, correct.
Any other questions, direction?
I think we need to put this on the agenda for next meeting.
That's, if that's the will. I will just remind you that this body did point out or set aside up to $750,000 for a matching grant from Texas Park and Wildlife. We will know our fate concrete here in this week, I believe before Thursday. Right now, we are not recommending for funding, but we're seeing if that will hopefully change. If not, you might be able to make an adjustment from that amount that you've already set aside.
Yeah, but I'd caution on that because that same application comes up again in March and
Correct.
it's done in July, which is still this budget year.
Correct.
And this time, TxDOT can actually look at our application and help us with our Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Correct.
Actually, it's a weird system. I've
It
been
is very weird.
scratching my head on how they do their things, but it is what it is. We scored 33, they funded the first 26 projects, so we weren't that far off, and now they can actually look at our application and help us through the application process to score better, that we didn't win. So you have to not win once for them to help you. Makes no sense to me, but I'm more busy working.
Just time is all we need, right?
It's like, just what I need in my life. So, but Caesar and I have a conference call lined up with them, and they're gonna go over the whole application and try to figure out how to improve it, so next time we will accomplish the goal, so. Anybody opposed to putting it on the agenda for next time? So I guess that's the direction, so
Yep.
7B.
I just wanted to thank everybody for the work that was done from this group. We held our very first kickoff meeting at the community center. It was greatly attended, a lot of resources available for our businesses. I've got nothing but positive comments on it so far. I'd like to get the next gathering to find out what the next steps are to when the pods are going to go and who would be involved. We do want more involvement, obviously. We had a pretty good turnout considering that it was the first one. But now as we crank up the next set of pods, we just want to build on that. So we're excited. And I want to thank you guys for your support and your efforts in that, because it was a pretty daunting when we were kind of the weekend before, as we're kind of gearing up for it. I'm like, all right, there's not that many people signed up. And we went out, we handed out flyers. Some people said, someone's already been here 3 times. And I said, well, great. That means you're getting the word, but you haven't signed up yet. And so I made them sign up on the spot. So really, it's just knocking on doors, making sure folks know what we're doing. So kudos to everybody here. I thought it was very well received. We got really good feedback. I think it's centered around communication, marketing, getting to know the things that we're doing and things of that nature. So we got some pretty good feedback on that, and we know the next steps, and I'll be working with Patty to get some of that done. Next item that we have is very brief, is letting you guys know that we're bringing to council tomorrow night Pursuing Opportunity Zone. It is a incentive plan. It would be incentive for any commercial construction that would occur. We're looking at the corridor that's been approved by the federal government within the Kemah city limits that we share with Clear Lake Shores, that would run 518 to 146 to 2094 to Lawrence Road. So we're quickly going to bring that forward tomorrow for council. The application's not due until June. There's a pretty heavy lift, quite a bit of work that has to happen, but it could be some incentives that could be provided through the federal government for some commercial development within the city limits.
I think one of the biggest incentives that in learning about this, because I was ignorant of this opportunity, but if an investor holds a property that's developed in this corridor for 10 years, one day, they pay zero capital gains to the federal government. So that's what gets their attention. So, but they got to hold it for 10 years, one day. Can't sell it before then. Doubles and you don't have to pay taxes, and yeah, it makes it conducive to invest money in opportunity zones. So
Especially
that's one of the big driving factors for long-term investors. You're not gonna get your short-term that are looking to flip things. You're gonna get more people that are looking to build something that's gonna be in the community for a longer period of time, because they gotta hold it for 10 years, one day, to capitalize on the capital gains, zero tax.
pretty substantial though, if you think about it. So we are going to
You're talking about a
petition.
$50 million apartment complex that doubles in value, then you're talking about 35% of 50 million is what, $18 million in tax savings? So yeah, it
So-
starts getting people's attention.
We will definitely be pursuing this, again, with council's blessing tomorrow night. Again, it is a pretty heavy lift, quite a bit of stuff we have to do. We do have to team up with, in this case, Clear Lake Shores and also the county, since there are pockets in there. But this could be a huge win for us if we're able to successfully submit, get the county's blessings on it, and then hopefully be considered. It would take, this is a year and a half work. It's not going to be anytime soon. It takes 6 months to get the application together, assuming that we can pass the hurdle tomorrow, then about a year's work of petitioning, because it doesn't take effect for a while, so until spring of 26, and then actually it doesn't take effect until 27. So either way, just wanted you guys to know it's something that we're working on.
Well, I think it'll help an investor in talking to them, because the water district doesn't have enough structure to support a large asset, a density being there. So they're gonna have to upfront probably somewhere between 6 and 8, maybe $10 million to put that infrastructure in. So this gives them a mechanism to eventually make that money back too as well. So had some long conversations with some investors, and if they're in it for the long haul, they're interested. If they're not, then it just doesn't play into their mousetrap.
Whatever we can do to be competitive.
Looks like a great opportunity.
Maybe the wrong question, my question. That number, we basing that number off of the 300 construction, is that based on?
Current,
Well, you start to putting density over there,
Right.
you're gonna have to put a bigger water line, bigger lift stations.
So my question is, and I'm ignorant about all of this, so what is that per line? essentially?
Well, that's what theoretically the impact fee is designed for, but with this, depending on what type of project, but I mean, for it to be feasible, it's got to have some density for somebody to be able to justify a $5 to $7 million investment in infrastructure, or they got to have some sort of shareable agreement in the acreage that it covers. So there's got to be something there with the wicked. So, I mean, it's just a lot of moving parts that's beyond our control. But we have been having meetings with Wicked, pretty much monthly here lately, trying to figure out ways to overcome some of these obstacles moving forward.
whatever we can do to offset that as much as possible and reduce that burden on the taxpayer is something we will do. That concludes that section of the report.
Anybody got any more questions? All right, moving on, consent agenda, 8A, approval of the minutes for 12/16/25 KCDC regular meeting. Do you have a motion? So moved. Dustin, you have a second?
Second.
Tom, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. 9A, considering possible action to move the 2/17/26 KCDC regular meeting to 2/10/26 KCDC special meeting. I'll preempt this a little bit. Me and Caesar will both be in San Antonio for the Red River event where all the investors are coming in from the Texas area on the night of the meeting is when it starts. So we're just asking to move it up, and just so everybody's aware, the next meeting, we're gonna move April and July up as well, because they fall, the first Wednesday falls on the first. So I don't see any sense in KCDC chasing behind city council's second meeting of the month. So I'm trying to move those up as well, just so everybody's aware. I think they'll be April 14th and July 14th. Just so it will be the day they had a council in case action needs to be taken. Try to eliminate any few more meetings.
Clarify that, you say
Well, it's gonna be on the next one, April 14th and July 14th. I just think we need to be before council because it falls on the first Tuesdays, not to the following week, so it knocks off our cycle the way we set up. So the next one will be bring back April and July. But the reason for the February move is because Caesar and I will be in San Antonio at a conference. So do I have a motion for the movement of the meeting from the 17th to the 10th?
So moved.
Dustin, do I have a second?
Second.
Tom, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need my glasses for this one. 9B, approval of a contract award for RFP sealed bid project 2025-04, professional grant planning services for KEMA 2040 strategic plan to Collaborate PM LLC. Caesar?
Yes, sir. Just wanted to remind everybody, we released this bid October 21st to 25, and during that October meeting, we went out to bid, collected it. Thank you for the members of the board that graded it. We did have 3 scores graded, and the highest response thus far was Collaborate, with a score almost 3 full points higher than the other bidder. So hence, we are recommending that you approve them for the solicited vendor to have this actual strategic plan. In doing so, when I met with you guys, I told you what their bids came in at. We did get a negotiated rate that was significantly lower. So if you look at your backup documentation, you'll see that that is in there and included. They did have some add-on items if you chose to include some of those add-on items. They're located on page 2 of 10. So the entire project can be done under the quoted amount of $20,000 at $19,880. And if you wanted any of the additional items that would be necessary, you can always pay for them as part of the additional consulting services. We're asking tonight for you to move forward with approval so we can get this project on the road.
Do you have any clue if they're defining as a civil consultant? Additional services.
That would be if we needed any help with anything underground. So any of your civil would be water, sewer, asphalt, street planning, anything having to do with your additional services.
Is that a road study though? Is that what?
No, that would not be a road study, but for example, if you needed to change, for example, what you had TxDOT assist you with before with the changing of, we're gonna do one way versus we're gonna make 6th Street one way and then 7th Street one, something like that. If you had to change your traffic patterns, any studies like that, that's what that would be. If you needed to connect a sidewalk, for example, because you've got this large structure over here, but then you've got all the stores are over here, or the hotels are here, you need to connect sidewalks or traffic plan, that's what some of those things would be. But that's mostly for anything having to do with any of your civil. So water, sewer, if you needed electrical or anything of that nature.
So how do they not do that when they're coming up with land use planning?
Well, it's not that they don't, it's an additional service should we want that.
They don't have to use that for land use planning?
Not necessarily, because if you wanted to go more in depth and get more of a comp plan and so forth, that's when you would do that differently. So if you noticed on there, anything to do with landscape consulting was that 5,000 additional. The civil consulting would be more of in-depth of, hey, listen, you've got an 8-inch water line here, but you should probably have a 12-inch water line based on what you're going to need because you're going to build 2 more shopping centers here. Well, one, respectfully to them, we can just have WCID do that through a developer agreement, whoever want to develop in a certain area. And a lot of that we felt could be cut out of that because we can get, it was almost redundant work, especially for water and sewer, which were the major usage of that. For example, with council, we just signed recently lighting. So if it was dark streets that we could add some additional lightings, certain places through our agreement with a CenterPoint, switching to LED lights and so forth. Well, we just went with CenterPoint and did that anyways, at no additional cost. We're bearing work, so we're going to share in that. We're going to ask PD, hey, where do you see that it's dark? Public Works, where do you see that it's dark? And doing that work there. But we don't need an additional party to tell us how to do that. So any cost savings we could have, then that was the lowest bearing fruit that we could carve out.
So Caesar, they're willing to use the information that we already have invested in.
Yes, ma'am.
And then with those additional are, if it was discovered that more is needed.
Correct.
above and beyond.
And if we wanted them to do it, then that would be the fee.
But if we already have someone else doing it, then
Would not be
they
necessary.
would collaborate with them.
Correct.
Okay.
No pun intended.
Okay. Hence the name.
Yes.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion?
For future, though, if there was anything for us to consider doing, the first 3 don't make a lot of sense. That third-party market data, we already have a lot of that through Placer AI that we're able to do that you guys already approved. The landscape consultant, we feel very comfortable in the spots where we have it, through Gateway Park, any of our parks and areas or major walkways that we could do that as well. Or have LJA do it as part of their agreement, if that's what we need to do for any major projects. The 2 that probably intrigue me the most would be either financial and public-private if we needed it. If we needed their help with any financial or public-private work, or if there was any social economic infrastructure planning. So, hey, you should probably have a study done that we need 6 more hotels. We need this many hotel rooms, like that type of stuff, getting the exact numbers, the specifics of it, that might be something that may be tied to that. So they'll do the above ground work, but not necessarily all that work in there and not charge us for it. So part of that is part of the study, but they're not going to go in depth and telling you, you need 70 hotel rooms here, you need 80 over there. In total, they'll tell us, hey, based on what you have, based on the traffic patterns, based on what you have, you'll need this, and this is what it would cost you to do. What they've done is they cut their entire quote down into what we would need them to do, which is the community meetings, the actual land use planning is probably the biggest component of this entire thing, but also final plan outlining, getting your measurables down, and then identifying what the goals are and assistance in visioning, right? And putting all these things together, working with this board to put those things together, working with the community to find out what they want, working with your business alliance to get that going. So you asked me to bring this contract back under a certain amount, and we were able to successfully do so. What we're asking for tonight is move forward or tell me what you want to do differently.
It's impressive that you got it in with us, so then.
No problem.
So we have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with collaborating on the strategic plan.
I'll second that.
Got that, Natasha? All those in favor?
Aye.
That's what you did? Did you? Unanimous.
My mistake, I'm sorry, I was waiting for you.
Did you?
Man,
Okay, 1 nay.
sorry.
9C, consider impossible action to approve transfer of funds for the purchase of new equipment for public works.
Yes, this item was brought to council. It was passed by council. We didn't need to do the formal budget transfer to finalize the purchase of this piece of equipment. This body agreed to pay for the portion that it did last time. We're just having the actual budget transfer. This is not action necessary to move that forward.
This is all budgeted, everything's under budget, right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfer.
Second.
You got Ray and Tom? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, Sean, you? Yes? Okay, just making sure. Consider possible action to apply for TPWD grant for boat access, 9D.
Yes, this is an opportunity to get some of that stuff done that we want to get done at the boat ramp that TxDOT would not be covering. We were asking to pursue this grant application in order to get that done. Thankfully, we would not have to go in the process of going to do the actual construction nor the design, because those are both being covered by TxDOT. But this would be for any additional superlatives that we want to add. So if there's any striping, lighting, water, any et cetera things you want to have, bulkheads, anything else you'd like to do, this would be part of that.
Yeah, and when we looked at the project and we looked at what was there previously and then what TxDOT has agreed to put in, we lack some of the bulkheading that we're going to need to keep the boat ramp area from silting in. We're going to need some additional parking where TxDOT had actually taken away some of the eastern parking when they extended the eastern bridge out about 30 feet. According to the TxDOT specs, TPW specs I was looking at, you needed something like 20 parking lots per every boat ramp lane you have. We've got 4, which would be 80 parking lots, and we have 80 parking spots, and we have about 20 full-length 40 by 10 boat trailer spots. And so part of the problem, when we looked at it with LJA, we looked at recovering some of that land on the eastern side and putting in angled 40 by 10 spots as well, basically making this a proper boat ramp. And any of you guys who've been boat owners, you know what being at a bad boat ramp looks like. But we have the opportunity to make a great traffic circulator there. We have an opportunity to get some great parking. We have an opportunity to really make that a first-class facility and keep it that way. But we need TPW to make that happen.
I guess the only question I have is, we don't have any plans or drawings for what TxDOT's actually putting back in.
Yes, we do.
We have some preliminary drawings of what they're trying to do.
We have enough to satisfy a grant?
We have enough to satisfy the fact that they're going to be paying for it and they're designing it. For us, this would pay for would be first design of the other superlatives, I'll call them, that we want to add, and construction for those items. So essentially, it's part of the Gateway Park project, just that sector of whatever else we want to add over there. And this is a 75-25 for whatever item, we choose to go for whatever amount.
I do have a question for us landlocked maps. So far, what does silted mean?
The mud coming in from, if you look at on the back side, on the western side of it, we have an old railroad track, which is a big dump of dirt. And as it rains, that just washes into the boat ramp, the boat ramp area. But if we've got that bulkhead, it keeps a lot of that soil from basically filling up our boat ramp area, which right now is mostly about a 2-foot mud flat. Now, TxDOT, as part of their agreement, they would mechanically excavate the area, but we need to make sure that being able to maintain that at a lower cost is a priority for us.
Have a motion?
Well, how much money do we need to put up for any one of these? Which one are you asking for, all of them?
Well, in this case, this particular item, I included the backup for all the grants because it was the same document. However, the grant itself, we would probably not to exceed $500,000. We would not want to exceed more than that at this time to go after that, because a lot of things we want to add are not too large and too great. Unless his body feels differently, we feel that that's a comfortable amount to stay within our parameters.
You said $500 million of our cost or grant?
More likely total application amount. I don't think that they're going to be giving any amounts greater than that. The highest I've seen is $1 million. Just remember, we're on the hook for 25% of whatever we're awarded, assuming award. And again, I just want to remind everybody, maybe if you're lucky, 10% of these get awarded. It's very competitive, especially with Texas Park and Wildlife, as we've just learned with this other fate that we're facing.
So if we receive it,
Then we're on the hook. Then we contribute it at, right, whatever that amount. That is correct.
If we don't go for it, we just are still in.
Which I know what is that.
Pun intended, I guess, technically. Yes.
Seems like no brainer.
I mean, it shows the deadline to apply. When's the,
I want to say it's the end of the month. I would have to double check that. I know that one.
Grant program.
If it's voting as a planning grant, it's February 2nd.
That says CN's 250, so that's something I don't think it's 65.
Hold on.
I haven't seen the question.
Phase one is planning. That's the 250. That's just, it's in phases in the construction grant. This is one of those that they'll do it in sections. So if you're awarded, they'll be like, okay, great. What's your total amount? How much is designed? We're going to give you money for phase one. Prove that you can do that correctly and that we approve what you're putting in there. Then we'll come back and do phase two. My portion of it is what I'm trying to do. Hopefully this ends up costing us nothing. Would be that we're able to use the TxDOT construction money from the boat ramp as our match, and technically it would count. But we would need, again, going back to what we said earlier, the check in the egg, you need design in order to get the actual match commitment, in order to get the rest of it committed. So
so we still don't know what date we would have to come up with this money.
it wouldn't be until you pay your match at the end.
I thought you said it was on award.
Right, but you'd have to go out to bid, go through that entire process. It is an entire process tied to that.
Well, that's completion of the project, not of the award of the grant. Those are two different things.
I apologize for that.
I just thought you said it was on award.
No,
So it is on board or on?
it's not an award, it's on completion of the project. You have to commit to it on award, but you don't have to
Once you
pay
commit,
it.
You have to, you know.
Right.
Right, but
And this is
that's
also a
3
reimbursable grant.
years to come up with it after they award it.
Usually it's a 2 to 3 year. I've seen 5 years on some projects.
No, but I'm saying, there's a long runway there to come up with.
Very long runway. On all these, it's usually a long
You
runway.
know that before.
Just like the 750 you committed previously, that's probably a 2 to 3 year runway would have been on that.
No, I get it, but, because this isn't budgeted today, is my point.
Correct.
But we're not gonna need it until 28. Okay, I can live with that.
27 to 28
I
would be
can
the
live with that.
soonest.
I can live with that. I just wasn't gonna live with you telling me they're gonna award it in March and then
Yeah.
I gotta come back and make another budget amendment.
And again, if you want to just go to the phase one ceiling of 250, if you're more comfortable with that, we could do that as well. Not to exceed 250 on the application, we could also do that. That's also an option.
I will also say there's been a lot of turnover historically in City Hall, and someone needs to remember this 3 years from now, when we go to budget.
Well, that's
this
why,
stuff.
I mean, even like Kip, I'm working on that. I don't think we need it for 6 more years, but we're trying to put the mechanism in place. So we're already working on it, because if you're not working on it now, we're gonna be $8 million behind 8 ball in 5 years. So we're working on that. I mean, we're trying to forward think a lot. Trying.
Because there's people up here that are gonna be termed out by the time this money matters.
Eventually, you'll have a full capital improvement plan that'll lay these out, and it'll be updated on an annual basis, at least 5 years out in advance. So you know up to 5 years if you've committed, not committed, or things you'd like to get done if funding becomes available.
I don't have any other questions if you're waiting on me to stop talking, I'm sorry.
Somebody wanna make a motion?
So moved.
You just want to know how you feel.
So moved to
Second.
250 or so moved to
500.
500?
500.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
9E, classes. Consider a possible action to approve pursuit of the TPWE recreational trails grant opportunity.
Do all my questions apply to this one too?
Yes, it would technically apply the same exact way. This one's also very competitive. This one's got a ceiling, I believe, of 300. Let me zoom this out a little bit more. Again, very competitive. I do recommend that we go for this recreational trails, the non-motorized, for $300,000 ceiling. That's also a February 2nd deadline. My first thought would be that we put it up for a 57-acre park, especially if we're not funded for that project. And then the second would be, if we are funded for that and somehow we can make the cut or something happens, then to turn that funding towards Gateway Park. And we'll have enough time between knowing for sure this week and the application deadline to make sure that we can adjust that accordingly. So we're seeking approval for up to $300,000.
So 75-25 as well.
This is 80-20.
So 300, so 60 grand. Have a motion?
Make motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That concludes all of our items. Thank you.
10, I think we're gonna postpone to next month. We're gonna proceed like we anticipated, so 11 would be non-exempt, 12 adjournment. Have a motion?
Motion. So moved.
Did you have a question about executive session we're not doing?
A second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There you go. Thank you. You gonna make the 10th meeting?
Hmm?
You gonna be able to make the 10th meeting?
I'll do it.
Okay.